That's such a nice definition. But it was also very wordy. So let's go ahead and pick 2 very important points from that and break it down. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jasmine if you didn't know, and today we're going to talk about something super important in our field known as imposter syndrome. So I can basically tell you 100% of the time somebody in our major has had this, and if they tell you that they haven't, they're definitely lying to you. So let's get into the video. So in order to combat and defeat something such as imposter syndrome, first we have to understand exactly what it means. So let's define it very quickly. According to the Harvard Business Review, imposter syndrome is defined as a collection of feelings of inadequacy that persists despite evident success. Imposters suffer from chronic self-doubt and a sense of intellectual fraudulence that overrides any feeling of success or external proof of competence. First, let's talk about self-doubt. Self-doubt can take many forms, and a lot of people say there is a lot of truth to every statement that we say. However, when it comes to self-doubt, I think there are a lot of environmental triggers that make us feel the way that we feel about ourselves. Things such as the competitive nature of undergrad can make you feel like you're not good enough to be in the program, like you're never going to get into grad school, or you're never going to become an SLP. Once you're in grad school, sure, it's not as competitive, but there's tons of information and you may not feel like you're ever going to learn it all. And then once you're in your fellowship or you're just in the field in general, you're going to run into things every day that make you question how good you are as an SLP, because honestly, every single day there's something that I'm like, wow, grad school, undergrad did not prep me for this, and I don't know that I know what I'm doing. Not super confident in that moment, but I promise you, all of those thoughts are just a part of imposter syndrome, and you're actually doing great. A lot of people deal with self-doubt by just trying to deal with it and put it in the back of their head by themselves. But honestly, if you talk to someone else, like an advisor, if you're in school, your boss, or even your coworkers, if you're already in the field, you can find out that some of those people have the same self-doubts that you've had, and they have ways that you can overcome it. Now let's talk a little bit about intellectual fraudulence. That is something you are bound to feel in this major, honestly. In undergrad and in grad, a lot of answers to a lot of your questions are, it depends. That's not super helpful when it comes to all of the questions that we have in this major, because you're never really getting a direct answer, because honestly, it does depend on what patient you meet, what the context is. It's never going to be a clear-cut answer in this major, and that is something that can make you feel like you don't know a lot of information, even though you really do. Undergrad and grad school does a good job of setting up the base, but like I've told you in other videos, a lot of your knowledge is going to come from pure experience. So even if you feel like you don't know a lot of those things, trust me, down the line, there might be a reason that you have to learn it, and you'll figure it out as you go. When it comes to intellectual fraudulence, I mean, sis, we know a lot of information. We learn so much stuff that it is kind of impossible to know 100% of everything, every single part of this field. At some point, you're going to do more language than you do artic. At some point, you're going to do more fluency than you do cognition. I feel like this is a major that it's always ebbing and flowing. You're going to learn more about something when you need to learn more about it. So don't beat yourself up if you don't know all of the things that you feel like you're supposed to know, because trust and believe me, every last person does not know everything, and we're all struggling with some subject. Maybe you're really good at language and you know so much about it, but your friend next to you is really struggling, but she's really good at artic, and that's not your strong suit. Everyone's going to be good at something because we all have our own interests, but just know that you can learn things as you go, and you don't have to know everything before the time comes. At the end of the day, I could talk a very long time about imposter syndrome, because this is something that I have felt within myself, but it is just really important to note that you have earned all of the things that you have. If you're in that undergraduate program, no one got into that program for you. They definitely didn't get into that grad program that you got into. And if you made it to your fellowship or all the way past your fellowship into your career, no one can put that on themselves. You did that for you. And so just know that you're meant to be where you are. And even if it's hard, or even if you're struggling in that moment, just find somebody to reach out to, because I absolutely know 110% that you are not the only one feeling the way that you feel. Anytime you guys are feeling a little bit of self-doubt or a little bit of intellectual fraudulence, feel free to rewatch this video so that I can remind you of how great you are, because you guys are doing a great job and I don't want you to forget that. If you guys found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more amazing content. But until my next video, peace.